Today will be kind of a different video. Normally I do time lapses of building Trigby or building something else, but today I'm going to be doing a little tutorial for you guys. We're going to be transforming this square of this plot world over here into a beautiful pine forest using minimal effort techniques using worldedit to get a very satisfying result. Now, it won't be the best pine forest you've ever seen in Minecraft, but it will be the best pine forest you've ever seen in Minecraft without spending a ridiculous amount of hours on it. So, first of all, let me show you what I managed to create using this technique on the bigger world. So to create this pine forest, we're gonna need some terrain, because a completely flat plain is not gonna, it's not gonna look pretty when you fill it up either. We need some terrain in here, so I think I'm gonna cut to a little time-lapse / replay, where you can just see me building up this terrain and creating some interesting shapes. So yeah, let's go. Alright, so we've got our pretty little terrain. We've got a hill over here with some cliffs where we can add some stoneworks to this. We've got a little lake for some scenery, and just a little height difference that we can basically use to block the horizon a little bit. See, so you don't see the plot world that much. Now, I did keep in mind a little path way. So I planned for the road to go this way, around on here, go around the corner, and then up the hill to the back over there. So let's start with painting this in. So I'm gonna teach you my 3-layer road technique, which is very simple. First of all, we're gonna make an outer layer, which is gonna be very rough, so it's gonna contain some grass and some coarse dirt maybe. And then we're gonna create our paved layer, so it's an actual road made out of stone, maybe a bit weathered, but we're gonna make it out of cobblestone, mossy stone bricks, and andesite, probably. That's a nice mix to make a road from. And then we're gonna have the center layer, the 3rd layer, which is gonna be the most heavy trodden area. So it's gonna be a very thin line, but it's gonna be very muddy, because that's where all the horses have been stamping all that time, and this isn't a big road, so it's probably gonna have only one line because it's not too busy, so people would just walk on the middle of the road, and that is where we're gonna have our little dirt track, so yeah, let's do that. First of all, grab your tool of choice, and I'd say type the command brush sphere orange, and let's go with a size of 4. And let's mask grass block. So we've got a brush now that brushes in a ball of a radius of 4 blocks, and we're gonna limit it to only painting on the grass. You see, so it's not painting the air, it's just painting the grass. So let's paint where our road will be going, and I think it will be going over here. Don't worry about any, rough patches. We're gonna fix those up later. So let's go up here. We wanted it to go up here. up here off the map. Looks like this area needs some working. But oh well. You can see here we have our path, and it doesn't look the best, right? It looks a bit craggy, so I'm gonna spend the next few minutes cleaning up this path in a time lapse. So you can watch me cleaning up all the orange bits and making sure that all the step downs and step ups are perpendicular to the travel direction. So let's see if I got a good place where that happened. So right here you can see step up kind of goes like this. It kind of goes diagonal. We don't want that, because that would mean that you'd be tilting to the left if you drive up a car or a cart, for example. So what we want is we want to make sure that it always is perpendicular to the travel direction. So we're traveling that way, so that means that the crossing should be like this. It should be perpendicular. So like that. So I'm gonna make sure that that happens everywhere. And I'm gonna be cleaning up these bumps and all those rough edges, and I'm gonna be filling in that corner over there. And then I'll see you back for the next step. Alright, so now we've got this done, we can start working on the inner layers of the road. So, as you can see, I've smoothed out this road, and I've made some better looking corners and avoided some straight bits, and I fixed that corner over there. So now we can start painting the other layers. Now I always like to use the colors orange, light blue and magenta, but you can use whatever colors wool you want to use. You know, we're going to replace it eventually, so let's type /brush sphere light blue. And we picked 4 for the orange wool, so I think I'll pick 2.5. Yes, you can use decimals for the worldedit brushes. Oh, and I didn't set the mask. We're gonna mask /mask orange. For the wools, you can just type the color and it'll give you the color wool. Really nice. We're just gonna paint inside here. Maybe I think 2.5 is maybe a bit too big, so let's actually just make it 2. And let's just continue, because, you know, there can be some width variation in there. And let's just paint along, and this road is gonna take the safest route. So it's gonna take straighter looking angles, because this is the paved road, and it's gonna avoid ledges a bit more, because this is the pavement, not just the dirt next to it. So it's gonna take the safest route. So there we go. So now this blue bit on here is our pavement, and then we're gonna go over the next layer, /brush sphere magenta 0, maybe 0.5. Let's mask light blue. Let's see. No, this is too much. A half is already too much. Let's just make it 0, so that will mean that it will be 1 block. And this is going to be in the center, sort of. So we're just going to run around. And this is what the people follow, right? So this is where people walk. So this is going to kind of take the apex line, you know, the racing line around the inner side of the corners. And sometimes it's going to split, you know, in busy places. You might find that it splits. So because this is only 1 wide, I'll go over it twice to thicken it out a tiny bit to make it look a bit more rough. And sometimes it's going to just split out. And it's going to reconnect again. Split out. You know, who cares? People, there will be more than just one directional traffic here, so this is fine. And as long as you kind of brush this in and keep it a kind of a line, it doesn't have to be completely connected, you're gonna be fine. So there's one group gonna be following the path right here, one group's gonna actually follow the middle of the road, and one group's gonna be lazy and they're gonna just cut along the corner here. Right, and what you want to do is maybe have a REPL tool nearby, so just type /REPL, just type any number, and then left click what you want to copy. Because we don't want it to get too thick, right? We don't want too much brown stuff on the road. So maybe in the thicker parts, thin it out a little bit. Just keep painting. And it's as easy as that. Just like Bob Ross, there's no mistakes and there's only a happy little accident, you know? And even if there is a mistake, you can just get rid of it, because we're not painting with paint, we're painting with Minecraft blocks. Luckily Minecraft is about mining and crafting at the same time. So, this little line, which looks a bit too neat, so I'm gonna just screw with it a little bit. You know, as you do. Okay, and get the REPL tool and fix some of the thicker spots that we painted. I don't really like that much. Alright, so here we've got our travel paths. I think that one can use a little bit of thinning out. Right, so here's our path. And now it's time to paint it. So I'd like to take you over to my Discord, because I've added a new channel on here. If you look up in the top left, we'll see the uploads, the work in progress builds and stuff that we have. There's also new resources, and this is where I'll be posting stuff that you might use if you want to follow stuff that I explain to you in my videos. So my resource pack will be here eventually, but for now there's worldedit masks and brushes. So let's just click on that and make it appear. So here we go, worldedit masks and brushes. It contains all the masks and brushes that I frequently use, so that I actually need to come back to. Looks like someone is actually looking at it, which is very nice. And we'll scroll down to the pine forest brushes and masks. So the road. Well, let's go to the outer layer. Let's just copy this command. If you don't want to, make up a palette yourself, because if you want to make up something yourself, go for it. So we'll copy that, and we'll just paste it in there. And this will make a brush that contains grass blocks and coarse dirt, and we're gonna put the radius at 10, nice and big. I'm gonna mask orange, which I think it says over here as well. No, it doesn't. Okay, well, you've got to mask the outer layer of your road in that case, and we're just gonna go over, we're gonna right click, and we're gonna paint this in. This UI is really annoying. But anyways, we're gonna just paint it in. Just hold your click and just move along and paint in the orange. Alright, then let's get over and to the paved layer, and as you can see it's gonna be made out of stone bricks, mossy stone bricks, andesite cobblestone and mossy cobblestone. Now that sounds like a lot. Trust me, it actually works quite well. So we'll paste that in and we'll mask light blue, because I like my light blues. I'm gonna increase the size to 10. Gonna paste that in. Very nice. Very nice road. So if you look at it, you can see all the kinds of blocks down there, but they all kind of fit together. We've got some more structured blocks, like the stone brick and the mossy stone brick, and I think also the mossy cobblestone feels more structured. Then we have the cobblestone for some noise, and we've got the andesite for some flatter bits along the way, which makes a very nice mix if you ask me. And then to get over to the next one, slash here, slash brush, podzol, brown concrete and dirt path. So basically all the brown blocks that we have. We're gonna mask magenta for that. So we go over here and just paint it in Very nice. Now make sure you hit every block of wall, because if you miss one, there's going to be some kind of weird color all over your path, like that. You don't want that to happen. So paint that in, and here's your road. Now I think this road looks quite next level, if you ask me. You might be able to come up with a better palette for your biome or whatever you're doing, but I think this fits the forest that we're going to be painting or building. And it might look like a stark contrast using all these blocks next to grass, but we're going to be painting the floor next. So let's skip over to the floor section, shall we? Now our next step is going to be to paint in the forest floor. So we're going to scroll up to the ground brush. So usually when you're building this on a world, there will be like tall grass and ferns and some flowers lying around, and I recommend using this flowers and grass mask to get rid of it. So just make a brush air with a big radius and use this mask, or use the trees mask, get rid of trees, or if you're playing on Pataria, this mask should be able to get rid of all the rocks. I suggest leaving the rocks in because they're actually quite nice. If there's any rocks on your road, you can remove them with this. So anyways, the ground brush. So we're going to be copying this, and let's bring it into our game. So we're going to just paste it in, and we're going to analyze what it says for a little bit. So we're going to be painting a sphere with 20% coarse dirt, 25% grass blocks, 20% podzol, 5% cobblestone, 10% moss blocks, 5% mossy cobblestone, and 5% soul sand. Now for the math wizards among you, I'm pretty sure that this doesn't add up to 100%. Maybe it does, but it probably doesn't, and that is because worldedit will scale them all back to 100% anyways. So if I want to change the amount of grass in here, so if I want a very intense browning effect, I could just type 10% over here, and it'll just work. You don't have to recalculate all the other stuff, you can just change these values however much you want. So I'm going to be using 25% grass, I think. And the mask you want to be using for this is either going to be mask grass, like this one down here, or we're going to be masking all the blocks that we're actually using. Because if we mask all the blocks that we're actually using, that means that we cannot overdo it. If we only mask grass, we click once, we'll fill in the pattern, and then we'll have a little bit of grass left, and if we click again, then all that grass will be replaced with more pattern. But this way, all the pattern will be replaced with more pattern. So this is the right way to go. So we're going to paste in this mask, and we're basically just going to... Ooh, little problem there. You see, building our road. So what you got to do is you're either going to be very careful not to mess up your road, because it will screw up your road. And unless you want that effect, I would suggest actually do use the grass block mask to begin with, to paint alongside your road, just so you're safe. So don't hold your click, just tap it sometimes. And let's just tap this all around here. Nice. So you can see this pattern brings in a lot of color and a lot of difference to your world. It's not just green, which I think is a really nice thing to have. Now let's actually get our other mask back, and let's just paint it along here. So everywhere where there isn't road, we can just paint this in. Never mind about this lake floor, we're gonna do that later. Just make sure you don't hit the road. It's the only thing you've got to look out for with this brush. So let's paint around here. Oh, hit the road there. You can always just use undo, but watch out, you can only undo so much. Paint this in, and I think we've hit every little spot. Yeah, we can use that too. Okay, so very quickly, let's bring the lake down to something reasonable. So Let's use brush, sphere. Oh, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Coarse dirt, gravel, brown, concrete, slash mask, and we're gonna mask painting, well, the stuff that we just painted. We're gonna be painting it only in here. Let's actually make the brush a little bit smaller, so we're gonna be painting it around here. Nice gravel shore of the lake. I don't know if I like the concrete that much, but looks fine. Down here it all turned into dirt, so we're gonna be mask dirt. It's gonna be painting it in down here as well. Right, that's all painted in. So now this will be what our lake looks like. And I'll be replacing the brown stuff with coarse dirt, because I don't like this. Brush, sphere, puzzle, coarse dirt, then mask, brown concrete. It's a lot better. So it's still brown, only now it's a different kind of brown, a bit more natural. Okay, so this might look like a bit of a mess to you, and it does to me as well. But we're going to be placing in the trees now. So the trees are going to be a tiny bit more complicated. So let's go over that right now. Alright, so to get the trees, we've got to go to a kind of different place. We're going to YouTube, and we're going to go to Lord Dakrs' channel. This video link will be in the description. I'm playing on Lord Dakrs' server, so I'm going to be using the trees he used on the map that I was working on. And these are trees from the MCG schematic pack. So we're going to click on this link to Planet Minecraft, and we're going to click download. We're going to click download with the left mouse button, click continue, click download on Mediafire. Cancel the ad, we don't need those, and we have it downloaded right here. Now just open that for a second. Let's place that to the side. Then all we have to do is we have to go to our %appdata%, open that up, go to your .minecraft folder, then go to your configs, worldedit, schematics. So here you see all kinds of .schem type stuff. We're going to copy them all, and we're going to just drag them into here. And this way your schematic should be installed. You see all the schematics here using a B are bushes, everything with an R is rocks, and everything with a T means tree. And it's going to be T underscore, the name of the tree, underscore, S or L, S meaning small, L going to mean large, and then a number. So we're going to be primarily placing down large trees. So let's get back into Minecraft. And let's type /schem list. So this will give us a list of all the schematics on the server. If you're playing on a server, you need to put them into your server files. So it might be a bit more difficult to get the schematics there. But anyways, we can see here the trees, the Alaskan cedar and black spruce and Douglas firs, all those kinds of trees. Now I kind of know what trees are nice to have, but I'm going to be using all of them. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be picking a tree, for example the Douglas fir large 3. So I'm going to type /schem load T underscore Douglas fir underscore L03. That's loaded the schematic, and then all I have to do is find a place to stand, and I'll do /paste -a -a, because I want to be removing the air from this print, because if I'll paste it with air, it'll paste all the air around it as well, and we don't want that. So let's undo that, and let's type paste -a. It'll just stick it in the ground with roots as well, so that's very nice. Now there is one of our bigger trees. Now you've got to be spacing them out quite a bit. If you have a plugin like Schematic Rush, use that. We don't have that. So I'm going to be pasting them in by hand, and this doesn't have to take long because you can just press T, then press arrow up and just paste them one again, apply to a different location, and paste one again. It's simple as that. So yeah, I'm going to be selecting a couple of trees flying around in a time lapse, and I'm going to paste this area full of trees to create a nice and dense forest. Okay, so now you've pasted in all your trees, everything's already looking a lot nicer, and that's very understandable because of course we were building a forest. So if we just take a little stroll through here, notice how nice everything looks with the leaves over the road, sun shining through of course if you have the shaders. And you can see tons of different trees that I used, and they're all available for free in that pack. Made by Dakrs. You can see the lake peeping through, and the ground now makes a lot more sense as well, right? Like, this cobblestones, just some rocks lying around, and a soul sand, some mud, podzols, well, some podzols, some pine needles, back together. If you fly through this forest, it already feels like a forest a lot more than you would get by just spamming around some spruce saplings. Now, another thing that we need to do. So we need to add some bushes, which is the last step, second to last, I suppose, of building this forest. And we're going to be doing that the easy way. What you could do is you could do schem list. You can see these bushes here. There's 4 bushes. Yeah. There's 4 bushes, so if I were to just load up schem load b spruce SO4, as you can see they're all small, so that's already a problem. Then we do place minus a, you can see it's a small bush, and small bushes are nice. And what you can do is you could just run around your forest and place those bushes in some open areas and some sidelines. Now if you want to save time, what I recommend doing is going to your path and see where you can actually see through the trees. So like right here, you can see through the trees. So I'd say paste a little bush down here and a little bush down here, so you at least cannot see through the path, through the trees anymore, right? So this is nice and closed off. And this way you'll make the forest feel a lot fuller than it actually is. And so this is a big life-saving tip. Let's load another bush and let's see if that's any different. So where can I see through the trees? Oh, right here. And let's place a bush right here. Wonderful. Now that is a tactic you could use. What I like to do is, if we go back to my brushes, I have here a grasses and plants brush. So for the big bushes, I'd like to use the brush sphere 20% orange, 80% air, with the size of 1. So yeah, we're going to be pasting that in, like that. We're going to mask air. If I just find a space where I think that a bush should go, I'll just paste in that here. Just a few clicks. It'll be nice and bright and orange, so I'll always be able to find it back. we're gonna use this orange to make the to be the fence post, and we're gonna be painting the leaves over later. So this place can use a large bush, kind of sweeps all the way around. Because remember, bushes can be bigger. Bushes can be really big if they grow together. Very nice. Can't grow this together. No, that's a bit big, so I'll just manually cut that down. And this won't give you perfect bushes by any chance. Like, you're still better off, of course, building everything by hand. Or maybe using the schematics, but I think this is a real easy way to create some bigger bushes. They're more dynamic, you can use in more spaces. That still look reasonably good. Now this place is going to need a big bush, because there's not a lot of trees to be planted here. Painting in some big bushes right here. Next to the road. Over here. Kind of to block all the views you can have, because the forest needs to feel dense, right? It needs to feel big and populated with all kinds of life. Right, so we've painted in our orange. Now, what we've got to do now is this on the list already? Sadly it isn't. So what we're going to do is we're going to do brush, sphere, magenta. We're going to do 40% magenta, 60% air. I'm going to mask air again, and we're going to be painting it over, make it one big. We're going to be painting it over this place, maybe 1.3. So as you can see, these bushes won't have the ultimate shape at all. They won't have proper leaf distribution, but what they will have is a shape that you paint into it. And they will have volume. And that's actually all we're looking for, right? We're looking for bushes to fill up the space. So let's paint in these bushes. Now, you must realize that these are the bushes that, live in actual unkept forests. So they're bigger than any of the bushes that you'll see in, the actually kept and well-guarded forests. So these are natural big bushes. Swing in and out the plot again for these annoying apparitions on the screen. We're just gonna try to find every piece of orange wool that we have painted next to the road, and we're gonna try to paint them all full leaves. And if you forget one, then we're gonna transform it into sticks anyways, so it won't be that noticeable if you forget one. Oh yeah, so this was our monster bush, our big one. Let's paint that. If you're lazy, if you're really lazy, what you can do is you can just plop down a couple leaves, and that'll look fine as well. You don't even need the sticks in there. Right, paint it all over. So that is, I think, all our orange painted over with magenta. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do... oh, this one. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do brush, sphere, and I'll add all these to the document as well, so you can just copy paste them if you don't want to figure it out for yourself. Spruce, fence, then mask, orange. I'm gonna grab a second tool, brush, sphere. I like to use acacia leaves. And remember to put persistent is true on there, because otherwise they're gonna disappear. Comma, birch leaves. Persistence is true. 10. We're gonna mask magenta. So now all we have to do is we have to basically click with this to make all the sticks into spruce. To make all the orange wool into spruce sticks. Right click with this to add the leaves. And I like to use the acacia and birch because they're not used much in the trees, except here. But they have interesting shapes as well, so they kind of have a more pine foresty feel, if you get what I mean. So let's paint all this, and all you have to do now is just fly around everywhere and paint it all. Paint it all. Make sure you don't miss any strange colors, because we don't want any strange colors around in our forest. Right. Paint everything. This is a very easy step, and I think one of the most fun things about building with worldedit is that you get to paint in everything after you've built everything. So you've just got to build all the shapes, and then you just have to click one button and everything becomes very pretty. Look, here are bushes that we didn't even put sticks into. Looks fine. And these big bushy monsters, we're gonna fill in some sticks. And you know, maybe you can find a better formula to make these bushes. If you do, please let me know, because I'm still working on this method, but I think it works pretty well. So if you look around here, we can see that we have colored in all our bushes, and that our viewing distance in the forest has become significantly smaller. So now we can nearly not even see off the edge anymore, which is amazing. There's bushes everywhere, the ground's interesting, there's a lake back there. This isn't even as big of a hole anymore as it used to be. Look down on the lake and the big trees. And if I were you, I would be careful with the Douglas fir fours, because the fours are really big. So I'd only use them sparingly. I've used 2, I think. Yeah, 2. So use them sparingly. Okay, and now the very last step that's gonna bind everything together is to add the ground layer. So I have saved that. So if we go over to my browser, we can see the grasses and plants, and we're gonna be able to brush sphere loads of stuff, as you can see. So let's walk through it together. We have over here 1% dead brain coral. Waterlogged is false. If you don't type the waterlogged is false, what will happen is the coral will spawn with water inside of it, so that will flood your entire forest, and you don't want that to happen. So don't forget to put down the waterlogged is false for any corals that you're using. We're going to use dead brain coral, a tiny little bit. We're going to use dead fire coral, also not waterlogged. We're going to use a couple sweetberry bushes, because they add some nice red coloring. We're going to use some ferns, a lot of air, and a tiny amount of dead bushes. We're going to use this radius of 10. Let's put that on our pickaxe. And let's grab the mask. And I'm going to have to explain this because this is a little bit difficult. So, what we are masking here is we are masking the air. We are masking the dead fire corals, and the dead brain coral, and the fern, and another fern, and dead bushes, and sweetberry bushes. Now what's that going to do is, we're going to be able to place stuff in places where there is already stuff. So just as with the ground texture that we painted, we cannot overdo this, because it will replace itself with itself. It won't fill up the holes, it will just replace it with more air. And then what we did is we did space greater than grass block, podzol, and coarse dirt. So those are the blocks on the ground that I want bushes on. So I don't want it on cobblestone, don't want it on the soul sand. I just want all the bushes on the dirt, the grass, or the podzol. And when you do something like this, you have to put it all within quotation marks, as you see here in the beginning and here in the end. And that is because the mask command only takes one word, basically, so it cannot have any spaces in it. You need to keep a space in between here. This piece needs a space, so you need to all put it in quotation marks, so it's all one argument. You just press enter, and you make sure you don't paint on the road. You can. There isn't much podzol on the road anyways. And what you do is you just fly over and you place your entire forest Just make sure you get everything. You fill your entire forest with these plants. Now watch out that you don't paint too much underwater, because I think that that'll be a bit of a problem, maybe. Yeah, because we have pods all underwater. But we only mask the air. You can just paint over your water, it's all safe, the mask is... It's done all the difficult thinking work for us, basically. So that's really easy to do. Now just make sure you get everything along the path, especially. Paint everything in. Everything along the path. Make sure we don't forget any spaces. And if you want some more stuff, if you want more plants and a bit more dense, all you have to do is go back to the brush, find the amount of air, so the 70% here, just make it 50. It's gonna be a lot more dense now, as you can see. You might just want to tweak anything you want. You can add some flowers in there as well. I'm not that big of a fan of adding flowers. But let's say we want a space where we have some plus 2% azure bluets. Then we get some azure bluets. We can just keep those in there. Flower up our space a little bit. Now, and make sure you get everything. If you're drastically changing this brush, by the way, you have to drastically change the mask as well. So if I add azure bluet in here, I have to add azure bluet on the left side of this mask as well. So I'd have to add azure bluet here as well. And that's the only thing you have to do. So now your forest is basically finished, except for the real manual features. So this is everything that you can do easily with worldedit. The next bit I'm still gonna do it because I want to finish this plot. You still have to put some more attention into it. So we've got this beautiful forest with minimal amounts of effort, but we still have this cliff over here that kind of needs some work. And you can do that easily using brush, sphere, andesite, cobblestone, mossy cobblestone, for example, no number, and mask dirt. You just paint this in here. This looks quite like a foresty cliff edge, so that's pretty easy. Maybe I'll add that to the document as well for the cliffs. This is easy, and all you have to do then is get some vine, which is something you cannot do with worldedit. Get some vine and get some what's it called? Glow lichen, and you just add some vines over the place, and maybe add some glow lichen to everything. And now this you cannot make a mask for, which is really sad, the glow lichen. So yeah, you have to do that by hand. And right now we have the cliff done, so I'm gonna fly around with the cliff brush and paint all the stuff. Then I'll give a final cinematic of what this forest looks like. So here we are, our finished pine forest. Now I think we did a pretty good job. And if you think so too, consider liking this video and subscribing. Also, if you would like to join the Discord, I've got my resources over there, and there's tons of builders and other people who would like to help you with all your builds. Leave a comment if you have something to say about this. Yeah, I hope you liked it, a longer video tutorial. There might be other tutorials in the future, I don't know yet. But anyways, I hope you liked it, and that's it for me. So I'll see you later. Bye!